I have come before you today for a regular, scheduled, televised, notified, well in advance press conference. I did not drive myself over here. But I did have to cancel an informal meeting with some tourists at the gate. I'm happy to see here today so many visiting members of the American Society of Newspaper Editors, so many of my old friends. You're welcome to your city. I have some information on the state of our national economy. In the first quarter of 1964, our gross national product rose to a rate of $608.5 billion. This is up $8.5 billion from the fourth quarter of 1963. The first quarter gross national product is nearly $37 billion above the year earlier figure. It is the largest year-to-year gain, I'm told by the chairman of the Economic Council this afternoon, in more than 2 years. Personal income in March ran at a rate of $480.5 billion, an increase of $1.5 billion over February, and of $25.7 billion over the rate of March 1963. For the first time in 2 years, we are making real progress in cutting down unemployment. We had a net gain of 1.5 million jobs from a year ago. The jobless rate dropped from 5.8% to 5.4%. And some other facts, I think, are worthy of note. Labor has gained over 4 million jobs, non-farm jobs, in this period, and over 56 billion of added annual income. Business has gained a 50% advance in profits after tax. Moreover, these wage and profit gains have not been eaten away by inflation. Prices in the United States have been more stable than in any other industrial country in the world. With strong markets, with steady costs, with lower taxes, American business does not need higher price levels to assure continued growth in profits. I look, therefore, to responsible business and to responsible labor to help us maintain our very fine record of cost and price stability and help us go all the way to full employment and a balanced budget and a strong enough competitive position to wipe out the balance of payment deficit. I believe the accurate picture of what is happening in the railroad strike negotiations has been presented fully and completely, but this may interest you. I do want to stress my deep and earnest hope that these negotiations will strengthen the collective bargaining processes in our country. To me, it is vitally important that we preserve our free enterprise system. Free enterprise assumes a capacity of both labor and management to handle their own affairs and to settle differences by negotiation. And I do not think that we serve the cause of free enterprise by precipitating situations which could lead to a breakdown of this process. The public interest must and will be served. And I think it is in the public interest to proceed by negotiation wherever possible. Intensive negotiation, day and night negotiation, is now going on, assisted by the mediators who are experienced men that I have appointed and who've come here at great sacrifice. It is a genuine collective bargaining in the true sense of the word, and I have great faith in the capacity of true collective bargaining. There have been fewer strikes since January 61 than in any other 3-year period since the early 30s. There have been fewer workers involved in strikes in the period since January 61 than during any comparable 3-year period since the early 30s. There have been fewer man days lost because of strikes since 61 than in any comparable 3-year period since World War II. There were more strikes and more people involved in them during World War II period, but they were settled, as you know, much more quickly, which meant fewer man days were lost. I am today establishing a program of presidential scholars. The title will be given to outstanding scholars graduating from our secondary schools, public and private, throughout the nation. These awards are to recognize the most precious resource of the United States, the brain power of its young people, to encourage the pursuit of intellectual attainments among all our youth. It is my hope that in the future a similar system can be worked out to honor our most gifted young people in the creative arts. 2 presidential scholars, a boy and a girl, will be named from each state. 2 will be named from Puerto Rico, 2 from the District of Columbia, 2 from the American territories, and up to 15 at large. The presidential scholars will be chosen by a commission on presidential scholars, which consists of Dr. Milton Eisenhower, president of Johns Hopkins University, the chairman of the commission, Leonard Bernstein, Catherine Ann Porter, Dr. Albert W. Dent, president of Dillard University in New Orleans, the Reverend Michael P. Walsh, president of Boston College, Dr. William Haggerty, president of the Drexel Institute of Technology, Philadelphia, and Mr. Melvin W. Barnes, the superintendent of schools of Portland, Oregon. The commission will operate with complete independence. The presidential scholars will be named in May of this year. The president will invite them to the White House as guests of this nation and present each with a medallion symbolizing the honor. On March the 30th, the Senate passed a bill which would authorize and investigate and study the possible construction of a sea-level canal connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. This bill has been referred to the House Committee on Merchant Marines and Fisheries. This administration supports this bill and hopes that the House Committee will give early and favorable consideration to it. There are several alternative routes for such a canal which will have to be studied carefully before a decision can be made. As part of the necessary studies, the United States and the government of Colombia have already reached an agreement to conduct studies relative to a survey for a sea-level canal. We're just able to announce this agreement today. We hope to make similar arrangements with other countries later. I've instructed the Secretary of Defense to immediately dispatch a survey team to Colombia to explore the possibility of constructing a sea-level canal in that country. The Secretary of Defense has informed me that a 10-man team will leave for Colombia tomorrow morning to begin work immediately. The United States team will work in close collaboration with the team of the Colombian government. I am very pleased to announce the appointment of Mr. Roger Stevens of New York as my assistant to advise me on the arts. To assist Mr. Stevens and to provide a forum for the representation for all the arts of the United States, I shall shortly issue an executive order establishing a presidential board on the arts. I've invited Prime Minister Krog of Denmark and Mrs. Krog to visit Washington on June 9th, as Johnson and I visited them last year. The Prime Minister has accepted the invitation, and he and Ms. Krog will be coming to Washington following their participation in Denmark Day at the New York World's Fair. I'm looking forward to seeing 2 of my old friends from Germany this summer. The governing mayor of Berlin, Willy Brandt, will be here on May the 18th. The Federal Chancellor Ludwig Erhard, who was here earlier in the year, will come back on June the 12th.